Hello guys, I'm Adiola, the Ekiti Star girl, and I'm exploring Ekiti State with Tales of an Explorer. Come along with me as we explore beautiful sceneries in Ekiti, such as Ikogosi Waterfall, Arita Waterfall, Esan Cave, and Erinjio. Come along with me as we enjoy this wonderful experience. Hello guys, I'm Adiola here again with Tales of an Explorer, and we're here at Ikogosi Warm Spring. Come along with me as we explore this beautiful scenery. Yay! I'm amazed at how beautiful this place is. I swear, when I snooze, say Naija na your mate, check it na your mate, take it to get talk well. You must have been hearing it. It's not plenty for you, yeah. I'm so excited, guys. Yeah. Wow. Cutsy Tales of an Explorer. You guys are too much. I'm having fun. So we just got in.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
So thanks for coming.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mrs. Adeyeye Akolade Roots.
Are you an indigene of Ekiti State?
Yeah, I'm an indigene of Ikogosi town. This is my town.
Okay.
So in the front, if we follow this walkway, we have where you have a daddy there. That's a plank walkway will lead you to the springs. And we are having 3 meeting points. We have the meeting point of the warm and cold water, where the water is meeting continuously and consistently without mixing. But the water later mix. Then the mixture of all the water is this one. Is this one you're having here. Here it is just slightly warm. You know, cold water I've already mixed with warm water. So it will give us something like lukewarm water. And the other way leads to our swimming pool. The water in the pool is the warm water. The warm water is always very, very clean. Maybe we start from the pool. Let's start from the pool.
Okay, ma'am.
You are welcome to our pool.
Wow.
We have the adult pool, this side, this one. This is the adult pool. And that is the children's pool. The adult pool is somehow having different depths. You have about 3 feet to that side. In between, you have about 4 feet or 4.5. There, you have 6 feet, which means it is not leveled. It is slopey or slanting pool. That means you can just actually pick your own level. And as you can see, it has something like a rail where you can follow. You can also make some short competition here, just to catch fun. The water is always warm, so let's touch. Very warm water, and it is naturally warm. The warm water is therapeutic in nature. I mean, it can cure sicknesses and diseases.
Wow.
Because it's a spring. It's an underground water. Yeah. If we look ahead of us, you see that water is flowing towards this side from very far away.
Yes, ma'am.
Water, that's the warm water. That's the warm spring. It's always clean and colorless. It's transparently clean. And it's always warm.
Okay.
And water does not usually take straight journey. So the same water takes a bend to that side And this is the warm water here now. Clean, colorless, transparent. And it's still the same water you have here. This is still the warm water. Very warm. And at this point, you realize that part of this water is dark. The background of this side is bright.
Yeah.
The background of that side is dark. That's the cold water. The source of this warm water is up there, about a few meters from here. Why the source of the cold water is from this thick forest. You can find the source in the thick forest. It's also a spring. Water that is flowing from rocks, that is forcing itself from underneath the rock to the earth surface. So there are springs. This side is very warm. Let's touch. This is warm. Warm water. And to come like this, come and touch. Come and touch by this side. And this side is always cold. This is cold. Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not just cold, it's chilling cold.
Chilling cold.
Or shocking cold. And here is come to this side. And here is the meeting point. Here you have warm water. This side is warm, this side is cold.
Oh, I see.
And as the water is meeting, they are not mixing. As they are meeting, they are not mixing. There's a slab. The water is passing under the slab to the other side. At that other side, you will realize that inside the same stream, this place is supposed to be a stream now. You can see that the background of the water here is also different. This side is still bright. That side is still dark. Which means if you touch this side, anti-touch, that side is still warm.
Yeah.
While the other side is cold. Go and feel that side.
Yeah. The waters are not mixing.
They are not mixing together. They are going side by side. That is inside the same stream over here. But they later mix. You know, I show you the mixture of cold and warm water. By that sharp corner, under the walkway, under the plank walkway, there's a pit under that place. The water rushed together into the pit. At that point, they started mixing. And initially, after mixing, the water is still slightly warm. But you know, the water is naturally warm. Which means anything that is natural will also have effect of another nature. Something that is naturally warm will naturally also get cold if you fetch it. If you take part of the warm water, you place it somewhere here, the cold nature, which is breeze, will be touching it, and it will be cooling down gradually. And if you fetch the cold water, the temperature will also step up to normal room temperature. So, after mixing at that point, initially the water was still lukewarm, but as they journey together as one body of lukewarm water, cold nature now made the water to turn to cold water. And they are now one body of cold water. You are welcome to Ikogosi. It's not only the water that is meeting here.
Is the water drinkable?
Yes, it is drinkable. It's drinkable. They are spring
The water is drinkable. Wow.
It's drinkable. It's spring water.
Is there any belief I am surrounding this water? Like if you drink it or something?
There is no belief, but there are facts.
Facts.
Not just belief. When you talk of belief, you're talking of faith.
Yes, ma'am.
Now there is the fact remains that if you are drinking Ikogosi, warm or cold spring water, you are going to receive one or two types of healing. If you are the type that can drink spring water. Any water that is flowing from the rock naturally will contain a lot of mineral things that can be therapeutic, that can cause healing, that can allow you to get cured of sicknesses and diseases. If someone is having diabetics or any type of disease or sicknesses,
Yeah.
and you need healing, gradual healing,
Yes, ma'am.
because it's not going to be magic. It will take time.
It takes
You'll be
time.
drinking the water continuously, persistently, from time to time. Then you get cured. So here you have the final meeting point of 4 different types of springs. 2 is cold, 2 is warm. And you can say that point is the point of unity, point of reunion for all the waters. It's not only the water that is thing of attraction here. We also have these 2 trees that is coexisting. They are cohabiting. This is a palm tree. I call it palm kernel tree because palm tree is two.
Yeah.
One is palm wine tree, the other one is a palm. So it's a palm kernel tree for red palm nuts, for red palm oil.
Yeah.
And this is a mahogany for furniture that is used in making planks. You have their roots, we have their roots tightly joined together, which is more or less against a particular way of life of the palm tree. Anywhere you see this type of palm tree, the palm kernel tree, it's always stand alone. You can have so many of it having their roots joined together, but you never see, hardly would you see a palm kernel tree like this having its root joined to another type of tree, because it has different types of roots. The roots of the palm tree is always spreading. It will spread around that environment and suck away nutrients. So other trees, other timbers will not be able to survive.
Join together, does it have a meaning?
Yes, for it to join together in an unusual manner. It means to the biologist there is a relationship going on between them. And that relationship, I will call it, they are more or less benefiting from each other. Otherwise, the palm tree would have killed the other tree for long. But now, if you study them very well, you realize that the palm tree is already having its roots tightly on the ground before the palm tree now sat on the roots. Which means this palm tree is having some sort of benefits from the mahogany. And to the biologists, they call it symbiotic relationship.
Okay.
They said this can go for a very good example of symbiotic relationship. And to me, I realized that for them to have their roots clustered together like this, it means they are benefiting from something in this environment together, which is the water. For about 70 years, they've been growing together. I mean, they grew up together. And the palm tree needs water, mahogany needs water.
Yeah.
And to the agriculturists, they brought a device. And the device read 70 years. But the mahogany is few months older than the palm tree, which means the mahogany was the first one that existed before the palm tree. So I see them as things of attraction. And I'm able to read meaning to it as an historian. I believe that the same relationship that is happening among these 2 water is still the same relationship. So the existence of these 2 types of tree is symbolic to the existence of the 2 types of water. Then going mathematically, if you place a rule across, is that vertical? Just place a rule from that meeting point to the meeting point of the 2 trees, you realize they are more or less the same. So, I call this location inside life. That is inside life. There is nothing you cannot see inside life, except you don't search. But you came searching. You saw the cold water, which is normal. You are now seeing the warm water, which is not all that normal. Have you?
Yes.
You have them mixing without mixing, the later mix. And you also have these two types of trees that is also coexisting in an unusual manner. So everything is still happening inside life. Then for you to enjoy this place, when you are enjoying, you are taking your five alive. So I think that they said Naira Mani, Abi, he said inside life, oh the five alive. That is enjoyment galore.
Yes.
Hello. So you can take pictures there. Then I will advise we move forward. Let's go and see the cold and colder water. Okay, Auntie?
Okay.
The water here is warmer. Come and feel this one. It's getting warmer.
Wow.
So the higher we go, the warmer,
The warmer
it gets.
Yeah.
So let's go this way to the cold and cold water meeting point. So if you come to Ikogosi Warm Spring, you are going to see a lot of things, a lot of natural things that nature bestowed on human beings, on humanity. Go this way. You have two types of cold water here. One is colder than the other. Touch this side, Auntie. Touch this one. One is bright. The other one is dark. Uncle, come and video from here.
This is extremely cold.
Okay.
Cold. Let me
Cross
do
to the
that
other
one.
side.
That's when I would know. Actually.
That's when you'll be able to compare. Which one is colder?
This.
Okay, retouch this. It was extremely cold, have you?
Yes.
Still cold?
No.
Not all that cold. Try to scoop. Use your hand to scoop it. It's still cold, have you? Yeah. But not extremely cold. Not but this is chilling, have you? This is chilling, yeah. So this is slightly cold. This is super cold. So make sure this is their meeting point. The backgrounds are different. Yeah, according to the history of Ikogosi, our waters are having names. I call them waters because of different temperature and different colors. So here you have two types of cold water. One is bright, the other one is dark. And that has to do with the history of Ikogosi springs, which says these two types of cold water used to be two women. One was dark in complexion and she was an extremely gentle woman, just like me. Her name was Awele. The second one was fair, very fair in complexion, but she possesses two behaviors. Her name was Ainorosun. And after transforming to water, they are the one that met at this point. Mixture of the two water formed that cold water, the one at the first meeting point. Awele happens to be the senior wife of the man that transformed to very warm water. While Ainorosun happens to be the junior wife of that same man, which means they were Tiyale Tiyawo, according to Yoruba. Senior wife and junior wife.
What's the name of the man that transformed into one?
His name was Awo Pereige. His name was Awo Pereige. Yeah. Awo Pereige. Awo AWO. Pere. You are going to see the name in the front.
Okay.
You are going to see it on the signpost. So Awo Pereige was a traditional healer. He was a traditional healer that always make use of charms to invoke warm water and cold water from rocks. And when people drink his water during their own generation, their generation was shortly after creation of the whole wide world. They were part of indigenes of Ile-Ife. I mean, their origin was Ile-Ife. Our Pereige, when he was a young man, he became matured and married Awele and Ainorosun. It was the culture of that generation that when a man gets married to his wives, not wives, he will search for a particular location in Yoruba land, inside any of the forest. He will relocate with his wives. And the wives will be making, they will be making babies. The man because there was no Western education, it's either the man is a farmer, a palm wine tapper, an hunter, or a traditional healer. So that was what our parent did. He brought his family all the way from Ile-Ife and relocated into this very forest to the left-hand side. Right. And that is why we call this location Ukongun Osi. Ibi tó kángun sí apá òsì. The settlement to the extreme left. Yes. Our parent relocated into this forest to the left-hand side, and he was doing the job of a traditional healing. People from other settlements in Yoruba land, when they are sick, they used to come to him. He will invoke very warm water. As soon as he invoked the water, I know Rosu, the junior wife, will help him to use our healing pot to fetch the water and serve the people that were sick. As soon as they finish drinking the water, they will be sweating. After sweating, they'll become healed immediately. And the water will go back into the rock until another healing section when we have to invoke water.
Wow, that's amazing.
Then for women that cannot give birth to children easily, you know, in those days, women hardly have relationship before going to their husband. In fact, in Yoruba land, it was an abomination for a young lady to already lose her virginity before going to her husband's house. So if any woman gets married and she couldn't get pregnant or give birth easily, they believe it must have something to do with the gods. Or maybe it has to do with one or two errors that is happening in our system. So they'll be so willing to assist such a woman. So for women that cannot easily give birth, like that same case that I mentioned, they will bring such a woman to the house of Awokpo Ereije and his wives. Awokpo Ereije and such a woman and Awele, they will make their journey to far away forests. Awele will go with her motherhood pot. As soon as Awokpo Ereije command very, very cold water from inside the rock, he will give Awele a particular type of leaf to be using it to scoop the water. She will be using it to fetch the water into a healing pot. It is that same water that Awele will carry on her head, alongside with that woman and Awokpo Ereije. They will come back to the rock and also collect warm water. He will also invite or command very warm water. The mixture of the two types of warm water, of the cold and the warm water, is what the woman will drink. And after 9 months, she will give birth to bouncing baby children, not just one child. They always give birth to two. Either two female or two male, or a male and a female. Twins. Wow. Then for men that cannot perform as real men during that generation, you know, there are some men, they are naturally impotent. Yeah. Some cannot perform, some can perform below level. They will bring such a man to our Ereije during his lifetime. Our Ereije will ask such a man to hold his cloth. And they will make this journey to that very same spot where Awele helped him to collect water. But this time around, it will be our Ereije and the man. As soon as our Ereije invites or command that water, invoke that water, that cold water, he will give a leaf, a particular leaf to the man, to be using the leaf to drink the water. So it's satisfaction. As soon as such a man gets satisfied, his level of libido will increase. Then, which means he has become fertile. Then he will also be able to marry his own wife. That was the way our Ereije was living his life with his two wives in this same forest. But after each healing section, the water always go back into the rock. He was not just doing that out of natural way. He was making use of a charm, which Yoruba always called Adoiwosan. That is healing charm. He always wear it on his neck like a bead. And there is a covenant attached to that bead that that healing charm, that he must not remove it from his neck, even when he's meeting with his wives. Even at death, he was not going to remove that charm. And he was not going to give it to somebody else because the charm will lose its potency. Then our parents made a covenant that at death, he agreed to the condition attached to that, the use of that charm, which was his two wives at death will transform to two different types of cold water according to their complexion, dark and fair. Dark and fair. And according to their behaviors, extremely gentle, which is cold nature, slightly gentle, which is the other water. And he agreed. Awele was very, very gentle in nature.
And was dark skinned.
She was dark skinned. I know was very fair, but she possesses two behaviors. At times she will be gentle, at times she will be hot temper. Awele gave birth to mainly boys, so many boys in this forest. His first son was named Olosun Ikogosi. That is a child that they always rub. Osun is camwood. They always rub camwood on his body. Yeah. He looks very beautiful, like a baby that had been rubbed with camwood. That was at birth. Was very fair. And the settlement where they were staying was Ikogosi, the settlement to the left-hand side. And in Yoruba land, Yoruba has a way of doing this thing. They will say, Ile la nwo ka to somo loruko. That is, you look at events, you look at the house, you look at the family, you look at what is happening around that time, where you are before you name your child or your children in those days. So the son, the first son of Awele, was named Olosun Ikogosi. It was Olosun Ikogosi that also established the town called Ikogosi, which we now name Ikogosi. So
deep.
The man also, our parents agreed that Ikogosi will also transform to slightly warm water. And that is why we have two types of warm water. One from our parents, the other one from Ikogosi. And that may form the meeting point of warm and warmer. Mixture of the two is the warm water. So be it. He agreed to the covenant. So at death, the man was the first person to enter into the rock. He transformed into very, very warm water. When people drink his water, they receive healing. The two wives, different times, different decades, or different generations, centuries, at their own time, they enter into rocks and transform to cold and colder water. Then Olosun Ikogosi now realized that he had so many siblings. His mother gave birth to so many boys. His stepmother, Olosun, gave birth to so many girls. Then he relocated from this forest with his siblings and established a town called Ikogosi. When it was time for him to die, he also entered back into this forest and transformed to slightly warm water. You are welcome.
Nigeria's history is sweet. Bah. If now want to travel, come this kind of trip. Na Tales of an Explorer feel run now, no doubt. And this is why I love to travel.
And the rush of the water here, so noisy. So those are the names. Look at it. That's our parents there. And the other one, Olosun Ikogosi. This spring by this other side. Here is Olosun's water. It's slightly warm. And it's drinkable.
Are you taking
It's tasteless. Then, if we can cross to the other side. This is the father's water. Let's do it one by one.
This is the father's water.
This is the father's water. Our parents gets water. Be careful. Put your leg in. No, that white. Yeah. Okay. Let's go like this. You see where I put my leg? Okay, I want to climb. This pot is just a decoration. See, this is the type of pot that I know Rosso always use. This is Ikogosi. We call it healing pot. Hey, even your side. This is the type of pot they use for boiling herbs and roots in the olden days. And it is the type of pot that I know Rosso always use. So to us here, we make a replica of the pot and place a pipe in the spring so that the water that is passing through the pot is assumed to contain healing power. And that is why I always bring the water. So when I'm drinking healing water. Okay, let's go up. Let's move. As we are going higher, the water is getting warmer. Warmer and warmer. Water is getting warmer.
Extremely tired.
Sorry. The source of the warmer water is the only one we are going to see. Because of forest encroachment, we will not be able to go to the source of the warm water, the source of the cold and colder water, but we will be able to see the sources of the warmer water. It's not having only one source. As you can see, there is water coming out from that side. That side is a source. There are other water coming out. They are underground water.
My experience so far has been interesting. I've been enjoying the whole story, but I'm not gonna lie, I've been a little stressed. No get energy. And fancy me, Mama Gami. But it's a lovely place, indeed. Ikogosi. I've learned something new.
I'll pay you. Olóru ó ṣègbó o. Olígi ọ̀dáná o. Omi gbóná omi tí ìtúlẹ̀ lágbo rẹ o. Láre bá ọmọ o. Ìgbà rẹ̀ yẹ o, ọ̀sán o. So here we have the sources of our Ikogosi water. It is the belief of the people of my town that the head of that healing family, the traditional healers, you enter into this place where you have this pit, and you are going to be seeing tiny, tiny bubbles of water that is forcing itself out. We are not going to touch because we are advised not to be touching. Okay. We cannot enter there except for small children under 12. They are the one that can go there.
Pure.
If they are not pure. And beyond this point, after this wall, there is no water. So this is the main source, and other sources are now joining it. That's why we have so much water down there. So all over here, look at this pit. It's bringing out tiny, tiny bubbles of water. It will stop, it will come up, it will stop. All over this place is bringing small water. And there is no water at the back. And the instruction says, do not go beyond this point. In Yoruba land, when they say don't do something, it means there is an abomination attached to it. And we are not going to commit abomination. We are tourists. Okay, so as the water is flowing from that side, we place a pipe here so that we can, so as to channel the water from this side to this corner here. Here you also have so many channels of water. Water from A and B is this one now. It's becoming much now. There's another one under those brown leaves. Then under this rock, there's a source there. All the water from that corner to this place is what we channel to our swimming pool. You can see we have 2 pipes there. One is channeling water to the pool. The other one is channeling water to the hotel rooms. And this is the water we use for our daily activities in Ikogosi Warm Spring hotels and resorts. We don't normally make use of any, we don't have borehole, we don't have well. God has given us enough water to do our business. Only that for the hotel room, when you store the water, it will get cold because it's naturally warm. But our hotel is more or less like a 5-star hotel. We have everything in place, everything is remotely controlled, and just patronize us. I hope I'm not paying for adverts. And that's another source. That's another source. From the back, you are going to see it from the back. So small water from all over the place, from underneath. And the addition of all the small water is the rush of the flow of much water there. To the scientists, they don't believe in the traditional story. But before I go into the science, let's see the pictures on the wall. Artists have been so good enough to us to be able to put 1 or 2 things on the wall for us for illustration. That man that is holding something that looks like a cutlass is the one called Awope Ereije, or is a replica of the man called Awope Ereije. During his lifetime, he was a farmer, he was a hunter, he was a power tapper, but majorly he was a traditional healer. The traditional healer that always invoke warm and cold water to treat people that have sicknesses and diseases during their life, during his own lifetime. And these pictures of these 2 women represents the 2 wives. The 2 wives. The one with pot on her head. That pot on her head is named motherhood pot, Oru Alabiyamo, or Ikoko Abiyamo. That picture looks exactly like Awele, the first wife of Awope Ereije. The baby on her back represents Olosun Ukonguosi, the man that established Ikogosi town. And the second woman, the second picture represents Aino Orosun. We call him Aino Orosun in our own language, in our own local dialects. Aino Orosun was fair complexion. She was somebody that is not all that gentle. She was the one that transformed to slightly colorless, cold water. And that pot in her hand is called healing pot. And that's the replica of the healing pot that we have down there. We mold something of that nature as a replica of the type of healing pot that I know always carry, because at death, she was furious. She threw her healing pot into the thick forest. And for remembrance of her, we always relate with that pot. We always like to see that type of pot. That's why we mold something like that. I know also gave birth to mainly female children. Our first daughter was also part of the covenant of transforming to healing water. Our first daughter was named Ora. Ora was a girl child. Ora was more or less the first child of our Ereije, but was a female child. You know, in Yoruba land, when a girl becomes matured, she will get married someday. Ora got married to somebody from the land of Ilesha. And according to that history, the man she got married to was also named Ora. Ora of Ilesha was a hunter. But he was somebody that was not all that easy as a human being. He was a tough man. Ora of this of Ikogosi got married to him, and according to the covenants, herself and the husband transformed to water at death, and the water is still at Ilesha town. If you get to Ilesha, ask of Ora water or Odo Ora in Ilesha. You are welcome. Everything is history. But according to geologists, people that study geography, that know much about rocks and environments, they said for this water to be flowing out of rocks, they said maybe or probably the rock below this earth crust is very, very hot. And when the rock is hot, you call it volcano. They said it's not going to erupt. The volcano is not going to erupt because they believe the water that is flowing out of the rock is suppressing the heat of the rock. And by the time the water gets to the top of the rock, two temperatures will be involved. Hotness of the rock and coldness of the water will give you warm water. It is their own assumption. And they now said the for us to also have cold water. It means part of the cold water that is coming out from other channel is passing through the thick forest. Cold nature work on it, and the water turned cold. And for the coloredness of the cold water, it has to do with herbs and roots. They said the medicinal nature of the water has to do with the fact that the water is flowing from inside, deep down from inside rock. And any water that is flowing out of rock always contains medicinal nature. And that the forest is also giving it a lot of medicinal nature. But to God be the glory. I, as the custodian of culture of my people in Ikogosi, I believe that everything was created by Almighty God. And traditionally in Yoruba land, my people in Yoruba land believe that despite the fact that there are different types of idols, gods and goddesses in Yoruba land, we still believe in Yoruba land that there is a supreme being, the one we call Eledumare. We believe is the one that can do anything, any way he chooses to do them. So on that note, I believe all we have seen so far is the work of Almighty God, Eledumare. And people that, so many people that have been coming here, like the Muslims, when they come around, they always have a way of saying Allahu Akbar. That is, Allah is the greatest, and God is the greatest. Then to the Christian folk, when they come, they also see it as the work of Almighty God. They believe when you tell a story, it is God that created the people involved in that story, and it was also the same God that gave them the power. Because any power under the planet Earth, whether good power or bad power, everything belongs to Almighty God. It's only the devil that will make use of the bad power, but God will not make use of the bad power. So to the Christian people, when they come around, they are fond of speaking big vocabularies. They say God is mysteriously mysterious, which is a fact. When you look at the existence of the water, your mind will go back to Almighty God. This is a mystery. Cold water beside warm water, nobody channeled them. And the water had been flowing through these rocks
for years.
More than 700 years of discovery. Before you can discover something 700 years ago, it means that thing had been in existence. So I think we cannot say it's a holy land, but I believe it's a place where people can worship God by, we always allow people fetch water, drink water, this if you want to, but we are not going to allow anybody to have their bath here. They are not going to be bathing here because it is not a church, it is not a shrine, it is not hygienic. So that is it. Thanks for coming to Ikogosi. Yeah, you're welcome.
So guys, as Sheton, we are done at Ikogosi Warm Spring. And I won't lie to you. I mean, for me, it is really, really fascinating. There are deep history that you guys can't even imagine. Wonderful, wonderful stories that I found interesting and overwhelming. So that's that. I really enjoyed myself in total, and you need to come here for sure. Thank you. Also, shout out to Tales of an Explorer for this. Yay!